Hey everybody, welcome to the Atheist Experience. We are live. Today is Sunday, May 21st, 2017. I'm Matt Dillahunty. Joining this week, Tracie Harris.
Hey.
And our special guest, Chris Johnson. Woo!
Hello.
And people were cheering and other stuff. I have a couple of announcements to make, and we had results come back from a survey, and we're not going to talk about that specifically today, but I did want to thank everybody who participated because the feedback was very helpful, both positive and negative feedback. You'll find out more about that as we, consider, and the board decides what they're going to do with it. But it reminded me, back in the olden days, when I first started doing the show, the intro was kind of like, hi, welcome to the Atheist Experience. We're sponsored by the Atheist Community of Austin, a nonprofit educational organization promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. But I stopped saying stuff like that because I've been doing the show for 12 years. But it turns out we should mention that the ACA is a nonprofit organization. You can find out more about the Atheist Community of Austin by visiting atheist-community.org. And there you will find some other bits of information that people perhaps weren't aware of. And that is that we have a weekly Sunday brunch meetup at Cafe Express. All the details are there on the website. And a monthly lecture series.
Yep.
And I may or may not be doing the June lecture. I have volunteered to do the June lecture, and it'll be a talk about magic and skepticism where I'll be performing and talking about it. But there's a chance that we could have a special guest, and since I'm here all the time, we'll bump me to some other week if that's the case. That's it for the immediate announcements. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Tracie.
Hello.
Hello.
What are you doing here? Chris has done the show before, by the way, and has been a friend of ours for years now.
Yes.
Because you've been working on this project for years. Well, I mean,
years,
it finished in different stages, but you're continuing. So why don't you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, so almost like 5 years ago now, the idea for the book, the coffee table photography book, A Better Life, 100 Atheists Speak Out on Joy and Meaning in a World Without God, came to me, and I stopped through Austin, and I said, I have this idea. I really want to do this. And friendships were started, and years later I'm back. The book came out, the film came out 2 years ago, the documentary film version.
Can I do the...
Yeah, absolutely. The film version, the book version. The film now has been out for 2 years, and during that time I've been traveling around the world, just shown it in 97 cities on 5 continents.
Yeah.
Wow.
Super nice, too.
And Tracie's in it, Matt's in it.
Great, like full color, like just amazing interviews, and well, I'm just showing pictures.
Really been an incredible journey. Because I think that we as atheists not only need to combat harmful religious ideologies, but we need to talk about how we do see the world.
Right.
Instead of just attacking, we need to say, this is how we view life. This is what it means to be somebody who doesn't believe in God. This is how we deal with the difficult questions. Because if we don't do that, religions do talk about those things, and we need to talk about them too.
Well, and wasn't part of it just to combat that horrible stereotype that atheists are negative, hateful people who just like to tear things down, and they have no joy. They have no joy and meaning, right? They have
It's a common complaint.
Joy and meaning in their lives, and that was the whole thing, joy and meaning in the lives of unbelievers living without God, and that was part of the point, was to show that there's as many different meanings and joy to life as there are different people who profess a non-belief in God.
Yeah, and it gives us responsibility too to create that meaning for ourselves.
Which is a responsibility, but it's also a privilege.
Yeah.
Today you spoke at the newly formed, it's a couple months old now, Austin Oasis.
Yes.
And there was one question in particular that we had a conversation with afterwards.
Yes.
I thought the question was awesome, and we both kind of addressed it in different ways, but then on the ride, you gave me additional information.
Yes.
Go ahead and tell them what that was.
So the question, do you want to say what the question was?
Essentially, the question was from someone who had religious family members, and she anticipated that one of their concerns was that the 100 atheists who are in the book were somehow cherry-picked. Like most other atheists might be miserable, but you picked the 100 that would give, good answers on joy and meaning.
I'm glad they thought our answers were good.
Well, we don't know yet because this was a question she anticipated from her family, but hasn't been asked yet.
Right, and so I said that everybody I interviewed, I didn't exclude anybody because I found them too negative. And then on the ride home...
Yeah, I asked him, okay, so there's 100 atheists in the book. how many people did you interview? Because if you interviewed 500 and you know, how many people did you interview?
100.
Yeah, 100. He's batting 1,000. Now, granted, you did select the 100 before you went to interview him.
Yes.
But I think it's kind of obvious that this tired old canard of, you know, atheists can't have joy and meaning, or that they're miserable, or that they don't have good answers on these issues, or that you can't have joy and meaning without a God.
Right.
This not only debunks it, but in a beautiful way, both photographically and with, I mean, there are some incredible thinkers in there who gave amazing answers. Tracie's in there.
I was going to say, they make my joy and meaning look like crap. Like, it's just, I was like, oh, I clearly have to work on my joy and meaning.
And to be able to spread that around the world to communities where I don't even necessarily speak the language, but people get the book or they see the film and they think about their own life in a different way, or the lives of their family members or friends or neighbors. I mean, that's an incredible experience for me as well as an artist.
Yeah, you can find out more information about this by going to theatheistbook.com, where you can find out information about the book and purchase the book, or the film itself in, I think, both DVD and digital download.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm not just saying this because I'm in it. I'm saying that if I wasn't in this, this is the project that I would have most regretted not being in, because this is important. Now, we take, this is a live television program. We take calls. We've got callers on hold right now. We interact with believers and non-believers. We try to find out what they believe and why. Try to have conversations. Sometimes it goes well. Sometimes it doesn't. None of us are remotely perfect. I'm the least one to ever even attempt to claim perfection here. But a lot of it centers around, is there any good reason to believe that a God exists? And I think that's important. I think it's valuable to talk about those arguments and the way to have those discussions. I think everybody can benefit from that. But we also hear from atheist non-believers looking for bits of advice, or I'm new to this, or how do we go about living our lives? And as a humanist, these are the things that I think are important. I like the Oasis slogan of people are more important than beliefs, but I also want to caution that beliefs do in fact matter, because that determines what kind of actions you're going to take, and that affects people. So, we're not about throwing beliefs on the wayside. But it's one thing for me to sit here and say, oh, I don't believe in God. And it's quite another to say that doesn't in any way diminish my view. And matter of fact, it may enhance and expand my view of joy and meaning.
Right.
Well, I didn't know if you had anything else other to say than write, or what's next for you? Where are you going after Austin?
Well, I'm touring all throughout the summer and into the fall. In October, continent number 6 will happen. I'm going to Cape Town, South Africa, to show the film.
6 continents.
6 continents, only one left, Antarctica, right? The most atheistic continent of them all.
Yeah.
All the penguins and scientists, right?
Yeah, because penguins definitely don't believe in God. If you've ever watched a documentary on penguins, first of all, I thought of this today when you said this earlier. That may be one of the most solid evidences that there isn't a God who's wise about design. Because he stuck penguins down there in the ice where they have to stand around huddled with an egg on their feet for months, waiting for sun and food and everything. Yeah. Who designed something? Why does God hate penguins? Wow. Oh,
yeah,
well,
really.
he gave them fur. Yeah, so they're all sitting there going, there is no God, there is no God, penguins.
Yeah. But this summer I'm going to tons of cities in the U.S., Memphis, Nashville, Pensacola, San Jose, Raleigh, Reno, Las Vegas, Boise, all over the place. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Is that all that available at the website too?
Yeah, my schedule's there. You can come check it out. I'd love to see everybody at the screening.
This thing really took off.
It in a way that I wasn't expecting. I thought I would do like 6 lecture screening events and then go to something else with my life. And like I said, I've done 97 now, 97 cities. So who knows what's coming up next?
And I remember when you sent your letter out, like asking who would participate, and no one knew who you were. Right? It was like, who is this person who is so polite and professional in his introductory letter, which was a big reason I felt comfortable participating in the project, because I felt that you handled your introduction in a super professional, super welcoming and polite and just very respectful, the whole thing. And I appreciated that a great deal.
It's been such a joy, not only doing the project, but getting to know everybody involved. you and Matt and everybody that is here in Austin. It's been such a great experience for me personally to not only tell this story, but also for my own life personally, to make new friends and just have this community of people that support me and support the work that I do.
How do you feel like your life has changed as a result of this project?
It's funny, somebody asked me that earlier today as well, and it's really made me focus on what's important to me. Is making a bunch of money important to me? No. What's important to me is doing work that benefits other people and meeting new people and having important conversations about what matters in life.
Yeah.
And, A.C. Grayling talks in the film, you only have 300 months in your life to do whatever it is you want to do, right? Because your whole life is less than 1,000 months. And
it's scary.
300 of them you're asleep, 300 of them you're waiting in line somewhere. And so how do you want to spend those 300 months? And I think that really puts into perspective how you want to live your life. And that's really affected me in terms of what do I want to do? I want to help talk about these important topics.
Yeah, and I mean, when you did this, there was no way you could have known what was going to happen as a result of this project.
Only God knew.
So we won't rattle off a bunch of names, but just for the people who might be curious, well, is this 100 random, atheists that you've selected and everything else? Of course, as we've already mentioned, the two of us were involved in this, but also for my magic friends, Darren Brown's in here as our Penn and Teller. What other magicians did you grab?
Well, there's a DVD too. Don't forget to mention the DVD, which was like
Richard Dawkins,
live interviews.
Steven Pinker, Rebecca Goldstein, Pat Churchland,
A.C. Grayling, Mary Namazi, Jennifer Michael Hecht, A.J. Johnson, Lawrence Krauss, and P.Z. Myers, Aaron Robb. There's 100 of them in the book.
Yeah.
There's not quite 100 in the movie.
And
yet, I think that the movie was almost a perfect condensing of the thoughts, because within the thoughts in the book, there are a lot of similarities.
Yes.
There's only so many ways you can say, well, of course I can enjoy my life. Turns out there's a number of different insights into how people view joy and meaning.
Right.
But ultimately, I think a lot of them, we had similar ideas. We're similar beings on a similar planet, and hey, I'm going to enjoy my life, and I'm going to be the captain of my ship, and I'm going to decide what the purpose is. But the film also, there's footage there from your journey where you're at a castle, a demolished castle in Scotland that I think is gorgeous, and it's just phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that because Chris is a friend of mine.
But he wasn't when this whole thing started. That's what's so amazing.
Yeah.
He is a friend of mine in particular because he took on an incredibly important project that everybody else had apparently overlooked. That I think should be more valued than it is.
Yeah.
But, as somebody who debates the existence of God, I'm pretty sure we'll spend most of today talking about that more than joy and meaning, but you never know.
You never know. I'm excited to hear what people have to say.
You guys want to take some calls?
Yes.